Straight talk from Israel. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Political hitman. I'm Howie, your political hitman, here on Israel News Talk Radio. Welcome to the program. Political Hitman is heard live here on Israel News Talk Radio, so feel free to call in. In North America, the number to call, 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 02-6500-151. This show marks the 4th year of Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio. 4 years we've been on the air here. And I'm just so happy that we could continue doing the show here. I want to thank Israel News Talk Radio for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I'm really happy to be here with you for this many years and continuing to talk about the issues that we talk about here on the show, some stuff that I think is very important to talk about. I'm not the kind of guy who believes in hypocrisy. I'm not the kind of guy who likes when people lie to me. I'm not the kind of guy who will sit back quietly and not talk about the kind of hypocrisy that happens in the world. So I've been quite vocal about as you heard last show, I'm quite vocal about Black Lives Matters and how people who claim to be Zionists are continuously supporting an anti-Zionist group because they believe in one aspect of their policy. I've continuously talked about hypocrisy in politics and hypocrisy in government and the hypocrisy of the world and their relationship to Israel. We've spoken about that. And I don't hide how I feel, and this show is not going to be any different. This episode of the show is not going to be any different. I want to talk to you about a huge hypocritical thing that's happening in Israel. I want to talk about hypocrisy in Israel. We don't often talk about Israeli politics. Today we're going to jump in because this kind of hypocrisy really, really drives me crazy. So I think we got to talk about it. And you could get in on the conversation because we're live, so you could call in. In North America, the number is 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 02-6500-151. Join me in the chat room by going to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com and clicking on that chat room button. I'm Howie Soberger. This is Political Hitman.
Always challenging the status quo. Hello, I'm Rod Bryant on Beyond the Matrix here at IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. I want to encourage you to listen each week, every Wednesday at the same time, for an amazing show that will challenge you, inform you, and inspire. News, views, and wisdom for the nations here on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. Don't forget, Beyond the Matrix every week, Wednesday, here on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
Political hitman. I'm Howie Soberger, your political hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. I encourage you to join me in the chat room by going to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com and clicking on that chat room button right there on the top of the page. I also encourage you to call in because this is a talk show, and calling in will actually make the show better. Calling in North America, number 301-768-4841. I'm Howie in Israel. Here. In Israel, the number is 02-6500-151. And that's the number. That's the number in Israel. And in number North America, 301-768-4841. And you could join the chat room by going to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com and clicking on that button that says chat room. Now, I don't like hypocrisy. I'm not a big fan of hypocrisy, and I really don't like when people lie. And this drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy in my personal life. It drives me crazy when I see it in politics. And I generally call it out in my personal life, and I'll call it out in politics too. So, today, yesterday, this week, the Palestinian Authority has sent threats and warnings trying to deter Israel from implementing sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. Now, Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas's advisor, Nabil Shaf, warned in an interview with a Palestinian Authority-based news website that, quote, if Israel insists on annexation, we will no longer be able to abide by the rules in the confrontation against them, and an intifada will occur, end quote. An intifada will occur. Now, Shaf called the intention to apply sovereignty a criminal step on the part of Israel. Now, on Sunday, Saeb Erekat, he's the Secretary General of the Executive Committee of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, whatever the heck that means, said that an application of sovereignty over even 1 inch of, quote, occupied Palestinian territory, end quote, by Netanyahu's government would mean an extermination of any chance of peace in the region. I'm going to stop there because what a load of bunk. What a load of bunk. I don't understand how anybody in the world could take these people seriously. Just a month ago, not even a month ago, Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, the guy who's in charge, the big cheese of the Palestinian Authority, said that he was canceling all agreements with Israel dating all the way back to the Oslo Accord. So let me understand. Let's try to understand what's going on. Abbas said that there are no more agreements between the Palestinian Authority and Israel. All the agreements are null and void. We're not abiding by any of them. They're finished. They're gone. They're completely through. Which gave the Palestinian Authority the right, in their mind, to do whatever they wanted. Commit terrorism, attack more land, attack the Israeli government. They gave them the right to do whatever they wanted. And that seemed to be fine in the world. The world had no issue with that at all. Israel, at the same time, said, hey, if they're canceling their agreements and they're not obliged to abide by the Oslo Accords and any of the agreements signed after the Oslo Accords, then we are not obliged to do that. And the best course of action for our country to maintain peace, to maintain stability, to maintain our country is to annex the lands of Judea and Samaria. There's nothing standing in the way of Israel doing that. If the Palestinian Authority decided that they are not abiding by their deals and they've nullified all the deals they made with Israel, Israel is also not obliged to follow the deals. So any deal that Israel had with the Palestinian Authority on shared sovereignty, any deals that Israel had with the Palestinian Authority on shared security, any deal Israel had with the Palestinian Authority on giving taxes, nullified by Mahmoud Abbas. So why should Israel be held accountable for not following the Oslo Accords when Abbas threw them in the garbage a month ago? The hypocrisy is unbelievable. It's mind-boggling that the United Nations is now considering condemning Israel again. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised by that, but they're considering condemning Israel for saying they want to annex the Judea and Samaria, the lands of Judea and Samaria. And by Erekat saying that Netanyahu annexing the land or even attempting to annex the land would mean an extermination of any chance of peace in the region, I'm sorry. Let's go back again. An extermination of any chance of peace in the region came when Mahmoud Abbas last month said that he is nullifying all peace agreements made with Israel. That was an extermination of any chance of peace in the region. Israel was still following the rules, basically following the agreements they made with the Palestinian Authority. When the Palestinian Authority cut the agreements and said, we're throwing these all in the garbage, that was an announcement of the extermination of any chance of peace in the region. And how the world hasn't held the Palestinian Authority responsible for destabilizing the region, how they haven't held them responsible for the last 70 years with destabilizing our region, but but just recently, just the last month or two, how they haven't held them responsible for that is a world crime. It's a criminal act on behalf of the world body of the United Nations. Now, the Palestinian Authority has taken their sovereignty plan, has taken their anti-sovereignty plan to the United Nations, seeking official condemnation by the international body against the Jewish state. That's fine. They could do that. The United Nations will condemn Israel. Who cares? I like to remind you, and this is something we have to remember. The Palestinian Authority went to the United Nations 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and said that they want to unilaterally declare independence. This is what they did a few years ago. They went to the United Nations and said, we are unilaterally declaring a Palestinian state. We don't want to negotiate with Israel. We're refusing to go to the negotiation table. We want to unilaterally declare a Palestinian state. How is that any different than Israel annexing the land that is legally theirs? Now, international law is very clear. Now, of course, the United Nations has skewed it up over the years, but international law is extremely clear. If you go back and you look at the resolutions from the League of Nations, you look back at the resolutions from the United Nations, the land that is Judea and Samaria, the land that is the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan, should all be the Jewish homeland. The mandate of Palestine was created to facilitate the establishment of a Jewish homeland in that land. That was the international law. The United Nations, when they took over the League of Nations mandate, they adopted every resolution of the League of Nations, which means an official resolution of the United Nations, which they've reneged on over the years, states that the land belongs to the Jewish people. So I don't get the hypocrisy. I don't understand hypocrisy. I'm not a liar. I don't generally lie. In my life, in my personal life, in my professional life, I don't tend to lie to people. And when people lie to me, and when people distort the truth, and when people take a situation and say one thing and then do something else, it absolutely drives me insane. It's intellectually dishonest. And when the masses, when the sheep all gather around and say, yes, this is what it is, then that's even more infuriating. If the Palestinian Authority has the right to cancel any agreement they have with Israel, then Israel has the right not to live up to any agreement they have with the Palestinian Authority. One hand washes the other. It doesn't make any sense. I want to hear what you have to say, and I want you to feel free to call in. Numbers to call in North America is 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 02-6500-151. I invite you to call in. I invite you to join the conversation because I think it's important that we talk about this. I think it's important. I know there's a lot of Jews out there, and there's always self-defeating Jews. And I know there's a lot of Jews out there who disagree with the proposed annexation of Judea and Samaria, something I think should have happened in 1967. There are a lot of Jews out there who disagree with the proposed annexation. There's a lot of Jews who will agree with the Palestinian Authority. There's always self-defeating Jews out there, and that is it's a bloody shame that there are a lot of people working against their own people. But we know that exists, and it's an unfortunate reality of the world, and an unfortunate reality of diaspora Jews. And I'm referring to Jews in Israel also as diaspora Jews, because until Messiah comes, we're all in the diaspora, and this kind of assimilation, this kind of groupthink takes hold with people who are trying to fit into some kind of society. And so in order to try to fit into a society, people take on the biases of those societies. And so I don't hold these Jews I hold them accountable for their thoughts. Of course I do. But I don't blame them for thinking the way they think because they've been brainwashed by society. They just want to fit in. They just want to be part of society. They want to be part of something. They want to be accepted. And they think that this is the way to get accepted. Kind of sad if you ask me. Anyway, give me a call. In North America, 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 0265-00151. I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio.
Shalom, everybody. Making a difference often takes just one moment and one person at a time. I am Orly Benny Davis, your show host on Israel News Talk Radios from Jerusalem with love. You'll be hearing people talking about politics, religion, social issues, and making a better tomorrow. Join me, Orly Benny Davis, for God and Country. From Jerusalem with love.
Wednesdays on Israel News Talk Radio.
Political Hitman. I'm Howie Silberger, your political hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. This is the fourth year. Today marks 4 years that I'm on here on Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio, and I appreciate you all sticking with me and listening to the show for so long and being part of the Political Hitman experience here on Israel News Talk Radio. You could join me in the chat room by going to israelnewstalkradio.com and clicking on that big button that says Listen Live Chat Room. I'm in the chat room the entire show. You can also feel free to call in. In North America, the number to call is 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number to call is 0265-00151. Now, when I do these shows, I stream them. I stream them on my Facebook, and I stream them all over the place. And I get messages there, as well as messages in the chat room. And I want to share a message I got off Facebook. And one of the messages I got on Facebook was, how are you a fascist for thinking that Israel should annex the Judean Samaria, the territories of Judean Samaria? This is Arab land that was stolen from the Arab people by the Israelis in 1948 and 1967. How dare you try to justify the Israel's stealing of this land? See, people are ignorant. This is what it comes down to. People are ignorant. The truth is out there. If people want to do the research, the truth is out there. And people in general are ignorant. They don't know history. They don't know anything. It's amazing. Let's go to the phones. Larry from Kansas. Welcome to the program. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Howie. How you doing? I hope my phone's going to work.
Oh, you sound wonderful, Larry. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Well, good. You know, Howie, I think we're in real serious trouble nowadays in the West and maybe worldwide. I just don't think there's any dialogue left. And I know the Western people, when they enter into dialogue with Easterners, let's say maybe PLO, Arabs, whatever, North Koreans, Chinese, whatever, we do it in two different ways. It's more like I hate to say this, but with them it's more like rug trading. It's okay to lie and deceive. And we try to enter into it if we really want to attain a goal. We try to tell the truth and work with facts. And they don't do that. And we always get upset at the end of the negotiation and say, well, they lied. They always lie. That's the way they do it, I think.
Larry, you think we should take on their tactic? I mean, sometimes you got to learn from your enemy. Sometimes, when you look
we
at
should at least know what they're up to. Yeah, I don't think there's any problem in that. They probably would respect us more if we did.
So we should just start lying and just making these claims that have no factual basis to them just because we can?
It's two different values. I don't know if Kipling said it. East to west is less than me. I think that's true. Even though we speak the same language sometimes, I just think we're on two different channels.
I've been arguing about Black Lives Matter for a full week since I did the show last week. People have been attacking me all week. And I've been arguing about Black Lives Matters and how we should not be supporting a violent fascist organization that's anti-Jewish and anti-Israel. This is not something we should be supporting. As Jews, as any moral human being, should be supporting this. The cause of racism, we should be fighting against racism in all of society. But at the same time, by doing that, you shouldn't be supporting a racist organization. And the ignorant comments I've been getting, people who don't know history, who are trying to quote history because they heard a soundbite somewhere. It's really frustrating. You can't have a normal conversation.
What do you do with a person who wants to argue from the standpoint that Black lives matter, and then you add to that, well, all lives matter, and they point the finger and say, well, you're a racist. I don't. Yeah. All lives do matter. I don't care what anybody says. Period.
And I don't care
if they're unborn, as far as I'm concerned.
I had this argument just today, at least 3 times today. Yeah. I said, I don't care what anybody's color is. Nobody should be discriminated against because of the color of their skin. That's something we can't control. That's something we're born with. And we shouldn't judge people based on the color of their skin. We should judge people based on their character, based on what their actions, their character, what they say, not based on what they look like. I don't care what you look like. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. If you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't care what you look like. Your color means nothing.
No, I
to me.
agree.
So I just
that's about the point we're at right now. The discussion just doesn't seem to be able to go on, really. And I don't know. A lot of people come up with just groupthink comments that they make that they've heard somewhere else, and they present it as truth, and it's not. Just isn't.
I blame this all, by the way, on the dumbing down of education. We've dumbed down education to a point where people aren't educated anymore. People don't know how to read or critically think. And with lack of critical thinking, there's a lack of critical thinking. Therefore, there's a lack of normal dialogue. You can't have a normal discussion.
That used to be a class. It used to be called forensics.
Yeah, they don't do it anymore.
Critical thinking used to actually be taught in high school.
I've been teaching high school for the last couple of, Larry, I've been teaching high school for the last couple of years. And last year, I introduced forensic science into my science class last year. They had never been taught this before. And I said, all right, so I'm going to give you a scenario. A crime has been committed. I'm going to give you the details of the crime. I want you to figure out how this crime was committed. You'll have all the clues. You just have to put it all together. You have to think about it and put it all together. Not one student was able to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like journalism. It used to be that there were commentators and journalists. And journalists presented the facts, and you shouldn't even be able to tell what his personal opinion is. And now all they have is commentators, and they don't even do that very well.
Yeah, it's kind of sad when you think about it. When you think about what CNN used to be and what CNN is today, or what Fox News was and what Fox News is, it's very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to hang up and listen.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, Larry. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you for taking the call. Bye.
Hi. All right. That was Larry from Kansas, and you could call in too. North America, 301-768-4841. In Israel, 02-650-0151. That is the number to call to get in on the conversation here on Israel News Talk Radio on Political Hitman. Feel free to call in, but critical thinking has disappeared. People don't think anymore. They see something on television, and they just assume that that's what it is. They don't think about editing. They don't think about the way it's framed or what's said before the video, what's said after the video. Critical thinking doesn't exist anymore. And research doesn't exist anymore. We all have cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone today. You have all the information in the world. All the information in the world at the tip of your fingers. And people are still quoting. They're still quoting misleading or absolutely falsified information when they're arguing with me. How does it happen? How long does it take to look something up before you respond to it? How long does it take to get the facts, to understand? So now I had an argument earlier today, and this is what prompted me to talk about this. I had an argument with a gentleman who who said to me that Israel is a fascist state. In fact, this is the same person who sent me that message that I read just before I took Larry. That Israel is a fascist state because they're annexing Judea and Samaria. And when I pointed out that Judea and Samaria belong to Israel legally, and that the only occupiers on that land are the Palestinian Authority, the land belongs to Israel. And I went back and I showed the person not only the resolution from the League of Human Rights, the League of Nations, not only the resolution where the United Nations accepted all the resolutions of the League of Nations, not only the San Marino Conference where this was all decided, not only the paperwork that created the Mandate of Palestine, which clearly says that the Mandate of Palestine was created to facilitate the establishment of a Jewish homeland. Forget about the Balfour Declaration. So many things, so many different pieces of information to show. And the person says to me, yeah, and? What do you mean, yeah, and? This is what it is. You want to talk about legal right? This is the legal right. Denying the legal right to a country. If I denied the legal right to another country, or somebody denied the legal right to another country, people would be screaming. They'd be yelling. But why is it okay to deny the legal right to Israel? Why is it okay to hold Israel to a different standard than every other country in the world? Why aren't people in the streets yelling and screaming when Jews are killed in Israel? I don't understand the hypocrisy. I mean, I understand the hatred of Jews, and I understand that the world doesn't really like the fact that Jews have their own country. That I get. I get the whole anti-Jewism aspect of this. But the hypocrisy of Jewish anti-Israel people, of Jewish people standing against their own people, it's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating. And this is where public dialogue, this is where public conversation should come in. And this is where people should have open minds and should be listening to facts. Look them up. I always tell everybody, whoever talks to me, don't take my word for anything. Look it up. If I tell you something, it's my perception of whatever I read. Go ahead and look it up. Prove me wrong. I've changed my opinion. I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman. Give me a call. North America, 301-768-4841. In Israel, 02-6500-151. We've been on for 4 years here on Israel News Talk Radio. Happy to be here. And I want you to take part in the conversation. So give me a call. This is Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio.
You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
This is Shai Bentako, and each week I'll be webcasting to you from Judea, origin of the word Jew, a people besieged and beleaguered in every generation. Nazi Germany is but a memory, but in its place the world invented the phantom Palestinians as this generation's internationally authorized Jew killers. Tune in for a different slant on life in Israel, Phantom Nation, every Monday.
Hi, I'm Rabbi David Aaron. The soul basics are the most profound, the most essential, and yet often the most neglected in our education. Join me for Soul Talk on Israel's News Talk Radio and discover the secrets to love, spiritual growth, and personal power.
Political Hitman. I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman. We've been on the air here on Israel News Talk Radio for 4 years. 4 whole years. And we bring you the issues for 4 years. That's a long time to bring you the issues on the show. And I'm glad that Israel News Talk Radio has put their faith in me and kept me on the air for this long. It is an honor and a privilege to be here. And I invite you to join me because we are live. So I invite you to join me to call in. Number to call in North America is 301-768-4841. In Israel, number 02-6500-151. That is the number to call to get in on the conversation. I We're talking about Israel annexing Judea and Samaria, their plan to annex Judea and Samaria, and the Palestinian Authority's awfully strange warning to Israel that if they do go ahead and annex Judea and Samaria, another Intifada will start. Now, we were told that, we were told last month by Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, who made it very clear last month that he is ripping up all agreements that he made with Israel, or that the Palestinian Authority or the PLO made with Israel, dating all the way back to 1993's Oslo Accords. And everything after that, he's ripping it up. It doesn't apply anymore. And then in the same breath, his right-hand man, Saeb Eilokrat, who one day when he was visiting North America, told a group of rabbis brought together to greet him by the United Federations of North America. He told them that Israel's committing genocide against the Palestinian, quote, Palestinian people. So this man's a crazy radical anyway. And he's saying now that there'll be an intifada, that they're going to indiscriminately attack innocent Israelis in retaliation for Israel annexing Judea and Samaria. And where is the world condemnation? One man is killed in the United States by a cop, and there's a month of riots destroying half the country, and now cities actually dismantling their police stations, and another city allowing a city-state to be created within the middle of their downtown area. Really strange situation going on in North America. From one man being killed by a police officer. And here we have a recognized group. I mean, they have observer status in the UN, so they're a recognized group by the UN, saying that they're going to kill innocent civilians of a sovereign nation if that sovereign nation annexes land that should belong to them anyway. I'm confused why there are no condemnations. I am confused why the world doesn't seem to care about the lives of Israelis. I'm confused as to how somebody could get up and just randomly say that they're going to go and kill people. They're going to murder people, innocent civilians. And nobody cares. Nobody says a word. In fact, the United Nations is probably going to condemn Israel and not condemn the Palestinian Authority for threatening to kill Israelis. It's some kind of twisty, turny, weird world we live in. Let me be extremely clear, because I don't want to mince my words. I generally don't mince words, but I don't want anyone to think I'm mincing words here. Since all agreements with the Palestinian Authority have been nullified by the Palestinian Authority, Israel should take their word for it. When your enemy says they're coming to kill you, always believe your enemy. Never think that they're bluffing. If somebody says, I'm coming to kill you, take it to the bank. They are coming to kill you. Israel should take the leadership of the Palestinian Authority, who have threatened the lives of Israelis, of innocent Israelis, threatened another intifada. And we know that when intifadas happen, innocent Israelis are killed in attacks on the street. Israel should take the leadership of the Palestinian Authority into custody. Arrest them. And arrest anybody else who gets up and says that they want to kill Israelis. A show of force is now what is needed from the Israeli government. Oh, sure, the world is going to freak out and start complaining and start yelling and screaming. Oh, sure, the Arab media machine will go into high gear condemning Israel. A government's job is to protect its citizens. When an enemy gets up and says, we are declaring war, and an intifada is war against Israel. When an enemy gets up and says, we are declaring war, No sovereign state should ever sit back and say, go ahead, kill us. Defend your country. Get up and do something. Don't allow it to escalate. Don't allow the Palestinian Authority to rile up their masses and allow terror attacks to become preeminent in Israeli life again. By doing that, if you allow that to happen as a government of the State of Israel, then you have failed as a government. Then the people of Israel have put their faith in the wrong people. Standing up, being accountable to the people that elected you into office, protecting the people, the ignorant and the educated, the people who believe the enemies when they say we want to kill you, and the people who say, they're just bluffing. Protecting all these people is paramount to the existence of the State of Israel. If you fail to do that, you are jeopardizing the continuation of the State of Israel. You're jeopardizing Israel altogether. A country without law and order, a country without police, a country without a government protecting people is an anarchy. Don't turn Israel into America. Don't turn Israel into an anarchy. America has become an anarchy. Look what's happening in America. People are being attacked on the streets. Buildings are being burned down. Police forces are being dismantled. Autonomous areas are being set up in the middle of major U.S. cities. It's anarchy. Don't turn Israel into an anarchy state. Don't allow the anarchists to win. Don't allow the left to scare you into not protecting the citizenship. Believe the Palestinian Liberation Organization, who have a long history of killing Jews, French people, Americans. Believe them when they say they're coming to kill. There is no reason to doubt them. Not taking them seriously. Thinking that there's some kind of negotiation you could do with people who say we're coming to kill you is the mistake of past governments. Don't allow that to be the mistake now. Be strong. Get up and protect your people. And to the people of Israel, hold your government accountable. Don't allow them to let the PLO get away with this. Don't allow them to allow the PLO to rile up their crowds to come and kill you. Stand tough. Demand action from your government. Have them take care of the problem. This problem has festered in Israel for way too long. And now that the PLO has canceled all agreements with Israel, now that the PLO has said that we are no longer abiding by any agreements, including the Oslo Accords, and we're going back to the way it was before the Oslo Accords, and we're going to commit terror against you if you try to annex Judea and Samaria. If your government's not going to stand up for you, then you got to stand up for yourself. I'm not saying be vigilantes. That's not. I know people are going to twist my words and say he's saying be a vigilante. I'm not saying be a vigilante. But what I am saying is, do not allow your politicians to be cowards. Hold them accountable. Force them to take action. And take action now before the violence starts. Because if you allow the violence to start, we're sacrificing people for no reason. Nobody should be sacrificed because the PLO doesn't like a policy of the Netanyahu government. Nobody should be sacrificed. But of course, my words are going to fall on deaf ears because I know that's what's going to happen. Deaf ears. And people are going to die because once again, the world is going to force Israel to think, to believe that there is somehow a way to achieve peace with people who are hell-bent on killing them. And the world is somehow going to twist this to make this Israel's fault. We live in a sad, twisted, messed up world. It's scary. When you think about it and you look at it rationally, you take a step back and you look at it rationally from the outside in, it's fairly scary. I thank God that Israel has the army to protect itself. And I pray to God that the Israeli government has the wherewithal to use that army appropriately and save their nation. I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. I want to thank you all for listening. I do appreciate you tuning in every week, pretty much every week for the last 4 years. I plan to stay on the air here on Israel News Talk Radio as long as they want to have me. I will continue to do shows, so I do appreciate Israel News Talk Radio, to Mariona and the crew at Israel News Talk Radio for putting me on the air and for giving me the platform to talk to you. And I do appreciate everybody who takes the effort to call in. I will see you again next week. I'm Howie Silberger, Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio.
Israel News Talk Radio's chat room. Just click the orange button at the top of the IsraelNewsTalkRadio.home page, log in as yourself or an anonymous guest, and join in on the fun. You'll meet other listeners from all over the world who listen to Israel News Talk Radio, and you can make new friends. Israel News Talk Radio's chat room. It's the closest you can get to being in the studio with us.
We love listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Where can you get the inside news on Israel? At Israel News Talk Radio, we're dedicated to sharing Israel's inside story with the world by providing our listeners with news on Israeli politics, current affairs, and Israeli Jewish culture. The Israel News Talk Radio homepage also provides you, the listener, with useful information at your fingertips, with scrolling news headlines, weather, currency exchange, Shabbat candlelighting times, and so much more. Our radio programming is always accessible and on demand. We operate absolutely free of charge for everyone, everywhere. If you love what we do, partner with us now by becoming an Israel News Talk Radio supporter. With your support, you'll be inscribed on our Israel News Talk Radio Wall of Fame. There's nothing like us in the world. Be part of something great. Israel News Talk Radio. Straight talk from Israel.
If you love Israel News Talk Radio, then you'll love our Facebook page. We keep you up to date on what's happening in Israel, plus little surprise treasures that we don't share on the radio. Go now to follow us on Facebook. Just look for the Israel News Talk Radio Facebook page, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us by clicking on the like button. We post great stuff there that you'll want to share. Israel News Talk Radio on Facebook and Israel News Radio on Twitter.
News, opinion, and more. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.